Welcome to our tutorial on adding fire to the ARFF Interactive Board. In this tutorial, we will add a fire next to an aircraft and use the fire toolbar to manipulate its appearance. Now as we get started, the first thing we need to do is make sure that we're in pause edit mode. That's the construction mode. And then we're going to come over here to the fire panel and we're going to add a fire right here by clicking on this. The first thing that I see is the red toolbar and the fire here. And now the fire is disappearing because the smoke's starting to appear over the fire. So let's go ahead and move some of that smoke out of there. So I'm going to come over here to the wind direction and speed panel. I'm going to add a direction, which is going to be up over this way. And then I'm going to add some wind speed and try to blow some of that smoke out of there. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about this tool right here. Now if I want to delete this out, I can click right there and that will delete it. Let's go ahead and add another fire here. And this button right here, this is to set the properties of the fire here. So let's go ahead and click on it. So there's some buttons across here and we have full fire mode. We have fire only. I'm going to click on that and let you see it. So if I'm on fire only, you'll see the smoke will start to disappear and we have only fire here. So we have that in there just so you can set it for whatever effect you're looking for. Now let's go over here and let's select smoke only. And we'll see the fire go away and it will just be smoking. And this will be useful for using on like a smoking wheel or an engine that's just smoking. And you can set the wind speed here to get the desired effect here. Drag it really far out or bring it in so it's just kind of hovering in the area there. Okay, then we have off right here. So we can set it to off. Now if I click off of this, the toolbar generally disappears. Most of it. But you'll see a little red marker here, and that's the location of the fire here. But this only shows up when you're in the pause edit mode. If we're in the play mode, you have no idea that there's a fire there. And if I want to bring the fire up while I'm in the play present mode, all I have to do is come over here, highlight the panel, bring it open, click on that, and I can select what type of fire I want to see. So let's go ahead and bring up fire and smoke. Close the panel up. And our fire starts up and we have the smoke with it right here. Okay, let's go back to pause edit mode, bring up the toolbar, and let's come over here to this button right here. This is transparency mode right here. So if I want to make this fire a little bit more transparent, all I can do is click on that and I can drag it down. And that will make it start to lighten up so you can see through it and makes it very faint. I can actually fade it super low. I guess that's about as low as it's going to get right there. So if I want to bring it back, I'm going to click on it and I'm going to drag my mouse up and it's back to being full fire right here. Now on the bottom here we have the move tool. And you click on that and you can move that fire wherever you want it to be. If you want to have it right over here, we can set it right there. Click off of it and there it is right there. Now this tool right here, this is the scaling tool for the fire here. So if I want to make it smaller, I'm going to drag it down. I can have a really super small fire. Maybe just something that's going to be over on the side of the engine here. You can run that like that if you want. Or something pretty big and we can move it over in this area right here. Okay, now we're going to get to the lock and we're going to get to the rotate tool. If you just rotate a fire, like right now, if I just rotate it, you see it doesn't really do anything, does it? That's because it's all dependent on the wind direction and speed panel here because that's where smoke's blowing it right there. But as soon as I hit that lock, it removes this out of the equation here, this wind direction and speed panel. and it will rotate with this right here at that point. So let's go ahead and try that. Let's go ahead and hit the lock, and now it's dependent on this rotate tool, and I can rotate it whatever direction I have going on here. And even if I have other fires out here that are obeying this right here, this one will only obey this right here, this rotate tool, because we have it on this lock here. If I click off of it, it goes right back to here. Now, if I'm back on lock here, and this is independent and not is removed away from this, how do I set the wind speed for this specific fire? That's right here. And what I can do is click on that and slide it left or actually up or down, I believe. No, it's left or right. So if I go to the right, that will give it no wind. If it's to the left, it gives it plenty of wind. All right, and that's all independent of this here, away from this here. This is not being used because right now it's unlocked from this portion right here. So now to click on that, now we're back to this, and you'll notice the little wind speed icon left this right here. All right. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the toolbar right here. Now let's talk about a little bit about layers with this right here. So let's say you wanted to have it underneath the wing here. Let's move this over. Let's select it and bring it right over here. Let's put it right here for right now. All right. Now, if they're fueling this aircraft on underneath the right wing here, and the fire gets out of control, as we're looking down at it, that fire should appear like it's under the wing here. But presently it looks like it's right on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight that, and we're going to come over here to the layers button right here. And we can lower that fire underneath the aircraft. And in principle here, everything here on this board is set up on a layer. All right, and the fire currently, because I've got it selected, the fire is currently on layer 5. So we want to take it down to about layer 1. So what we're going to do is, while it's highlighted, I'm going to tap this down button. I tapped it 1 to 4, and it looks like it's still on top. And I can tap it to 3, and it's still up. So that tells me the airplane is down lower on the layer system. So let's take this down to layer 1. And now it should be underneath the wing here. Underneath the whole aircraft in general as well. And we can make it a little smaller if we want by hitting that scale tool. And now we have the appearance of a fire underneath the wing right here. All right. So now we could also have some hidden fires, and I know I showed you that a minute ago, but let's go ahead and place some hidden fires out here. So I'm going to go back to the pause edit mode, and I'm going to bring up my fire control panel, and I'm going to add some more fires. But before I do that, actually, let's go ahead and name this fire right here, because we don't want to get too confused. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to drag my mouse across it, and I'm going to type wing fire. Let's just call it wing fire. And here we go, we have wing fire. Let's add 3 more fires here, all right? So let's add a fire right here. So I'm going to come down here and hit add. And I'm going to put that fire right here. Maybe increase it a little bit in size. And what we're going to do is we're going to call this fire, let's call it right front fire. So we'll just put an R there for short there. So we'll call it right front fire. All right. And then I'm going to change the properties of this down to nothing. So off. Now let's do one right here. Let's call this one left front fire. And we're going to shut that one off. Let's put one right here. And we'll call this one left rear fire. And let's go ahead and shut that off. Now you can see where these fires are located at around here. And maybe, actually, let's go ahead and now let's just finish up with that right there. We won't add anything else here. So let's go ahead and go back to play mode. And you'll see that all those fires disappeared here. All right. Let's go ahead and back out. And let's bring in an ARFF truck. And now we're getting into part of the classroom presentation here, and you'll see why we added those fires there if you haven't started figuring it out yet. So we can set up this fire like this, and right now, not to get out of the tutorial portion here, but just to set you up as to why we did what we did here, is you can they will come in, your students, with their truck. They'll set up their extinguishing agent. They'll select their agent, and maybe they're going to select foam right here. All right. So they're working on the fire. Now, as a moderator, I can let that go out, and I could come down here and I could just shut that fire off right here if I choose. Maybe I want to convey to them that this is a three-dimensional fire and that they need to use dry chemical on this fire here. So what they're going to do is they're going to come up here and they're going to switch over to dry chem. Let's use dry chem with foam. Excuse me. So now they're working at it, and I could allow it to go out. All right. Now, had I wanted to progress this scenario further, I could have actually moved the fire down into the right front area, and I could click on here and bring up the fire and actually make it worse, the whole scenario. And maybe I'm going to have another truck over here, maybe somebody over here guarding this area, but they're going to be in the smoke. But I could also move it over here to the left front if I'm saying they're pushing fire underneath the aircraft. So I would come over here and activate the left front fire. You see where I'm going with this here? So however you're allowing it as a moderator to go, and this could change the whole scenario as you do this. So that's that in a nutshell for fires. So let's go ahead and let's shut these off. And let's shut our truck off. And let's move over to the runway right here. Another scenario we could do is we could come over here and add a fire. And we're going to simulate having a wheel problem here. So let's bring our smoke right down the runway here, and let's decrease the size of this fire right here for a wheel fire. So I'm going to set it up so that it's right on top, but I can see a little bit of smoke, a little bit of fire that's kind of trailing off the back of the wing here. And then I'm going to lower that down to the number 1 position. And then I'm going to switch this over to smoke. Okay. And actually, truth be known, we could add another fire here just because it's when you got one smoking wheel, generally you're going to have more than one. Both of them. All right, then we're going to add our ARFF truck. And they're just going to be positioned up here at the nose. They're not going to be downwind, and we can go to play mode here. So at this point, you can simulate them talking to the pilot and their observations here. And whatever they're going to do, you can change the status of this fire at any given time by just coming over here and hitting fire. And now as the observer here, I can see, oh my gosh, things are different now. It might be changing how we're acting over here with that. So then of course they're going to be taking their agent, turning it on, and starting to apply their extinguishing agent to that. Now, a little trick here too is you can actually lower the agent to being underneath the aircraft just by tapping on that, coming over here and clicking down. Let's go ahead and highlight that again. And that might take several, oh there we go. Now we're underneath here and they're putting the agent right here. Just kind of gives you a view that they're actually shooting underneath the wing. Okay, well I think we're about done with this tutorial on adding fire. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you join us on some of our other tutorials. So you folks have a nice day.